Elijah Williams is one of the most dominant defensive players in recent history to play in the MEAC, and today he joins Locked on HBCU. Oh, yeah, it's Locked on HBCU. Play my music.
You are Locked on HBCU, your daily podcast covering HBCU sports. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's going on, family? Welcome back to another episode of the Locked On HBCU podcast, your number one daily one-stop shop for everything HBCU athletics, Monday through Friday. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And I, of course, am Darrion Gray, a.k.a. the Mouth of the South, Texas Southern alum and former TSU Herald Sports editor and current contributing writer at USA Today's Saints Wire. Thank you for going on this journey with me. Make a Locked On HBCU your first listen of the day every day. And remember, just because the mic cuts off does not mean that the journey is over. Just means it's time to follow me on Twitter at South Exclusives. Starts with an S and ends with an S. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. New customers can go to FanDuel right now and get $250 back in bonus bets when their first $5 bet wins. Go to FanDuel.com to make every moment more. Today's all about Elijah Williams. One of the best HBCU prospects in the NFL draft joins the show to break down his career at Morgan State, his history and how he started at Morgan State, and then also this pre-draft process. And I'm super excited for me to bring this to you. I'm here with All-American and one of the top HBCU prospects in this year's NFL draft, Elijah Williams. Now, you know him as a defensive tackle. You know him as a defensive end. You know him as a versatile threat. But one thing you may not know about him is that he started off as a linebacker. And I was taken aback to see that you were a second-level threat when you came into Morgan State. And I'll be honest with you, I still can't wrap my head around it fully. But can you break down Elijah Williams, the linebacker, for me before we get into who you are today?
I played linebacker my senior year. Really, I played O-line, D-line my entire life, but my coach, he just brought me back at linebacker because at that time, I guess the linebackers want to do their job. So he put me back there. I did one drill. He was like, "Yeah, we're gonna have you at linebacker for this year." So that led me to being recruited to Morgan State as an outside linebacker, and I played there. And we also had a couple packages where I was at middle linebacker, somewhat of a QB spy, and like a green grass rusher per se.
To me, when I hear that, right, I'm thinking, what does the versatility of being a linebacker? It's almost like in basketball where they say you have this big who used to be a point, so now they have handles. What did your experience of playing linebacker, even if it was for a short amount of time, do for your ability as a defensive lineman?
I feel as though it definitely helped me see plays develop, understanding what's going on and the best way for me to get to the ball. Playing that linebacker really showed me, okay, if the guards are going this way, if the guards are pulling, where do you think the ball is going to be? So that definitely helped me in that aspect, as well as my lateral quickness, and my change of direction. Just those two definitely really helped me as a D lineman when it came to stopping the run and rushing the passer.
And I've heard you describe, when I was talking about this with Gerald, he was describing, you said, look, he's got a lot of weight on him. Yeah, like he's 280, 290 in that 290 range. But lower half, the way he moves, he still has some linebacker in him. Do you feel like that ever left, or did you have to like train yourself to keep it?
Oh no, I don't feel like it ever left. It really something that just came naturally to me. I've just always been good at it, adjusting to my situations, adjusting to my surroundings. So just playing linebacker is just another instance where I gotta adjust, and really I just let my natural athletic ability take over.
And then when you did move back to defensive line, did it feel like, okay, I'm back home now, right? Because you changed over, you did the linebacker thing, but you said that was a late change in your at least high school career. When you went back to D line at Morgan, did you feel like this is where I'm supposed to be? Let's get it done.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, man, I really enjoyed it. Definitely because I didn't really have to worry about dropping for the pass no more. Even though it was cool, they ain't catch no balls my way. We know fly zone in the curl or flat when I'm dropping. But shoot, man, just really being able to stay on that defensive line, just do what I've been doing for years. It was definitely fun. Like all of football is, and I really enjoy putting my hand back in that dirt.
See, you talking about the no-fly zone. I can tell why you wear 0. Because as a big man wearing 0, first off, it's rare that you wear a single digit, period. But for you to switch out to 0, you had to live up. That was some pressure. Big dudes wearing single digits have to be cold, and you were. But what made you pick 0 of all numbers? 0.
Uh, when they gave me 51, that was pretty much my recreation number, like the number I had when I was real young, in middle school and stuff, elementary school. But then I was like, man, all my football career, I never was able to choose my own number. So I'm like, man, I want something like that people don't really got. 0 was just coming out. You seeing that 0 was just
Mm-hmm.
coming out when I had switched. So I'm like, man, I want 0. So they gave me 0, and I knew I had to put on a performance because I can't just get a sweet number and be trash. So I had to do my thing.
Nah, and I see it, and I said, man, I couldn't see you in nothing else. I ain't gonna lie. When they had you at that Legacy Bowl in '66, I was getting frustrated for you. I look, I don't know how you wear 0 for as many years as you did, and then wear 66. I know it wasn't your actual number, but man, that was trash. I ain't gonna lie to you. That 66 did not look good on you. That ain't your number, man. But as a defensive tackle, as a defensive end, you talk about versatility. What do you feel like that provides you in the long run? Or excuse me, what do you feel like that experience playing inside and outside provides you in the long run?
A coach feeling comfortable with certain matchups with you. If he knows you can play inside and he knows you can play outside, there's different instances where they have a lot of flexibility of where they can put you, and you can help the team better because they can exploit matchups with you. You understand what I'm saying?
And do you feel comfortable enough to play either, or do you have a preference?
Oh no, I feel comfortable enough to play both. I've just did both pretty much almost my entire career, so it's like, both are home to me.
Yeah. Is there a different mentality? I guess we can even throw linebacker in there. You done played all three at the collegiate level. What is the mentality going through each of those positions?
Honestly, my mentality doesn't change, man. I'm always gonna be aggressive, always gonna attack the football, always gonna give you my max effort. That's just something that I've always done. I don't feel that any position needs anything other than that.
So really the only difference is having to kind of read and react a little bit more visually to see certain things at linebacker and then not as much at defensive tackle, or it, correct me if I'm wrong in that, but that's what I kind of got the gist of when you were talking about watching the guards at linebacker.
Yeah, how you play might be different. Also, because I thought you were asking the question like, how am I thinking? Like, what's my
No, I, I
mindset
I
going?
was, but I could
Oh,
tell it was a similar mentality. So the only real difference is the actual responsibilities.
yeah, definitely. I feel as though linebacker gives you a little more time to understand and dissect what's going on because everything isn't right in front of your face, so you get the whole picture. When you're at on D line, it's pretty much you're just getting a fragment, and you got to fill in the gaps with the you have to fill in the gaps pretty much by what you think is going on as opposed to what you see.
I can see that. Now, let's move from your experience early on in your career to talking about after your career at Morgan State and what you're going through right now, that pre-draft process and everything that's involved in that. We're going to break that down as we continue with Locked On HBCU. Did you know that your Amazon Fire TV is also an Xbox? That's right. With just a Fire TV Stick 4K device, you don't even need a console, and you can turn your TV into a gaming and entertainment hub. Just grab a pair of controllers, subscribe, or sign in to Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with EA Play included, and you're ready to go. You can dive into hundreds of titles like EA Sports College Football 25. Maybe you want to do that. Or Call of Duty Black Ops 6 or Avowed, whatever your bag is, you can do it with a Fire TV stick. They have the latest technology for elevated gameplay with Wi-Fi 6/6E in auto low latency mode, advanced technology. The Fire TV Stick 4K delivers smooth, responsive gameplay with lightning fast speeds you need to stay competitive. Now, listen, I'm not a big gamer, but I understand that it's way easier to bring that little controller and that Fire TV stick than it is to bring an entire Xbox. So I would suggest that you go ahead and do it. Go ahead and head to Amazon.com/Fire TV locked on to get started. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription and compatible controller required. Available on select devices, including Fire TV Stick 4K second gen, Fire TV 4K Fire TV Stick 4K Max first and second gen, and then Fire TV Cube, the third gen. As we continue rolling on today's episode of Locked On HBCU, I appreciate you for making this your first listen of the day every day. For your second listen, make sure you're checking out Locked On NFL Draft. You know what today is. It's round 2 and 3 of the NFL Draft, and you get a recap on round 1. So make sure that you are checking it all out with my guys Parsons and Sanchez. Right now, I'm joined by Elijah Williams, one of the most dominant forces in HBCU football. And that's one of the reasons that you are in the position that you are today as a potential draftee. Do you think about, or how much do you, because I know you do, but how much do you think about actually hearing your name called in the NFL draft?
I think about it. I think about it quite a bit. Honestly though, I try not to,
Mhm.
because I really understand that all I need is an opportunity. Whether my name get called or not, once I get that opportunity, I'm gonna show them why they need me on their team.
I like that, man. I like that. I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm not that much older than you, so I don't want to sound like unk status or nothing. But like when I was your age, there is no way that I was sitting here thinking with the maturity of, yeah, call me or don't call me. I just need an opportunity at the end of the day. So I wanna praise you for that because I couldn't have been there. I ain't gonna lie. It was one of those things where I probably would have been a tad bit more obsessive than you are, but you got the right mentality all in all, if you ask me. Now, when talking about getting your name called, I don't have a problem with your size, right? We talked about RAS score on last week's shows, and the RAS score had your size as a poor. I said 290 is solid. I think it depends on where you play them. I might not put 290 just straight nose tackle where I want a 305, 315 guy, but I think you have pretty good size for the position. How do you feel? Do you feel like your size is at all a concern or something that's been brought up to you?
No, I don't think it's ever been a concern. I feel as though when you put on that film, the film's gonna speak for itself.
Mm-hmm.
I was at sophomore year. I was playing inside and outside at around 265, 270. Even when we played higher competition, I'm not getting moved. That's just something like that I just take pride in. Whether my size is, people think I'm too big, people think I'm too small. I always like, man, I'm gonna prove you wrong. I'm gonna do what you think I can't do.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's funny because we were talking about the RAS score on there, and I was reacting to them, but I was also criticizing them a little bit for how they graded certain players in certain positions. But anyway, moving on from that. When you're looking at playing that higher competition, how do you feel like that has impacted your stock? Because HBCU athletes get criticized for strength of competition all the time. So when you play a bigger school, you have to show out. Do you feel like that was I guess a factor in how a lot of teams are viewing your stock today?
Yeah, I think it's a factor. I somewhat do think it's a fair assessment and also an unfair assessment. Um, really, just thinking that all HBCUs, they don't have good competition and stuff like that in comparison to these bigger schools. But even when you see players perform against bigger schools, it's still that doubt, like, hey, we got to find something that's wrong with this guy, which is understandable because it's a business. But I really just want people to give credit when it's due, to HBCU players. We have a lot of dogs and a lot of people that deserve opportunities, I want to say. But that's why I like the HBCU Legacy Bowl, because HBCU athletes a chance to really show against the best of us, like, man, we can do this. This is what we do, and we're gonna get a chance to perform in front of all 32 teams. So shout out to the HBCU Legacy Bowl.
And you ripped it up there, man. Like, people will say that you had the best week of practice that we've seen in the few years of the Legacy Bowl practice. How did you feel about your own individual performance?
I always feel like I can do better. But I definitely enjoyed it. Definitely enjoyed the experience. I enjoyed my performance. I definitely do think there was things I could work on. Maybe I could win a bit faster. Maybe I could win a bit cleaner. But overall, great day, great week, great game. The vibe for the HBCU Legacy Bowl was just unmatched.
And you talk about, see, look, I say you dominate. You say there's things I could have worked on, there's things I could have done better, specifically winning faster. And do you believe that attitude is necessary when approaching the next level? Because you could do great and be like, yeah, I had a great day, but you'll see yourself doing great and feel like, I got to find that one thing I need to do better. And it's like motivation almost.
Yeah, I feel as though we should always be like that, or someone be like that in life. Um, really understanding that even though we're grateful for our circumstances, we can do things to better it, and work on ourselves to better ourselves as well. So definitely, that's a mentality that people need to always try to work on themselves, because nobody's perfect. So we just got to continue to put in the work to better ourselves.
And it started off with the HBCU combine. You decided to not throw, or excuse me, not run the 40 that day. You eventually did it at your pro day. But what went into the decision to hold off until a later date to run the 40?
Really, just understanding that I wasn't ready.
Mhm.
Um, just felt that putting a bad number on wasn't something that I wanted to do. I wanted to. I'm like, okay, I can do everything else. I'm gonna do everything else. I want the scouts to guess how fast I am, and they want to see me move quick. Like, yeah, we got to see this dude run. We got to see him perform.
So when you did eventually do it, do you feel like you put on a good performance?
Yeah, I feel like I put on a good performance. Feel as though my back end could have been a bit faster, man. They said it's the underwear Olympics, man. I had to get down to the underwear for that. Feel like my 10 was sweet. I'm looking at the video thinking I'm the Flash, man. But I shoot the pro day. I definitely enjoyed that. Definitely going out there and competing with my guys again. That's something I really enjoyed.
Yeah, and it's funny because you look at that number, and I think that it was a 5-1, right? I think that's what it
Yeah.
was. That's good. That's good. And you wanted to push it down to probably a what? 5? Did you have a number in mind?
Shoot, I had a dream pre-process. I ran a 4.640.
Oh,
I was
brother.
very far off from that
Come on.
4.640, but
I thought
but
you were gonna say I ran a 4.9, a 4.93. Come on, man. You thought
no,
you thought you still 230.
I'm like, man, Elijah, you could be one of the fastest people on earth. But shoot, I'm like, as I was getting close, I'm like, maybe that 4.6 ain't as close as I thought it was gonna be. So I'm really like, man, I just want to get under a 5. If I do, that's phenomenal for me. But 5.1, that was still good. Still up there with my position. So I'm like, okay, I'm cool. 10-yard was pretty good. Looked fast running it, so that's what matters.
Well, what are the coaches, or excuse me, what are the teams talking to you about? Like, is there anything that's a common thread between squads that they want to know about you?
Um, Not necessarily. I feel as though teams are really trying to get to know me get to know like who I am as a person and also as a player. Um, Not necessarily talking about the things that I do bad, but really just trying to understand who I am.
And who are you? Like, if they're asking this question, let's say I'm a scout, I'm a GM, I'm a coach, and I want to know who Elijah Williams is. Who is he?
A God-fearing family man from Jersey City, New Jersey, that's just going out there every day trying to be the best version of himself.
And then on the field, who are you then? Because we've seen the production. Don't tell me you're 19 tackles for a loss. Don't tell me you're 11 sacks. Like, don't tell me that. Don't tell me that's what you are. But who are you on the field when it's all said and done?
a person who's going to go out there and try to dominate every play.
I like it. It worked for you. You walk away feeling good when you answer those questions. You feel like you had they took it. Well, I did. What about you?
Man, I enjoy every conversation, man. Every
Mhm.
conversation I have is just a great conversation. All this whole situation is really just a blessing.
And then obviously they want to know a lot about you, but they also bringing something to the table. When we're talking scheme and things like that, where do they view you schematically, right? How do they view you schematically when you go into the next level?
A lot of teams say something about me being a tweener. They see me being at that three tech, four eyes spot. Um, I don't hear too much talk about me being just strictly a five, but just a guy that can move around that D line. Not necessarily a nose though, but also they some view me as like, hey, I could keep that 290, 295 range. Some teams may want me to put on a little more, but shoot, whatever a team want, I'm gonna get it done.
Of course. Going into this off season, did you walk in with a point to prove, and did you prove it?
Yeah, I feel as though being at this university, I just walked in with the point of like it don't matter where you come from, no matter who you are. If you can make it to the NFL, the NFL gonna find you. If you're an NFL talent, they're gonna find you. So I'm just like, man, I'm just gonna put my head down and grind. This off season, I was like, okay, what have I been missing from the rest? A lot of my summers, I'm here all the time, so I never really got training at Morgan. I'm just here doing my own thing, during the summer. After our summer workouts and stuff. When it comes to technicalities, I wasn't able to get it during the summer because I never really went back to Jersey. You know, Trainers be costing money too, so funds be a little low. But I was able to get one, and it definitely helped me a lot. Fix my technique up, clean it up, and when it got to the games, it was all but noticeable. But it was very noticeable, not all
I
but
know
noticeable.
I know what you meant. I know what you meant, but
Okay.
let's clean it up, right? But no, okay, let's push to that time in Morgan State. Let's talk about what your career has looked like over the course of 4 years as we continue and wrap up today's episode of Locked On HBCU. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel and our former Jackson State quarterback, Shador Sanders. He's still on the board. I think that he'll go to Cleveland with the top pick in the second round. Maybe he'll go to Vegas at 37. Maybe he'll go to my Saints at 40. Who knows? I know a lot of people expected him to be gone on Thursday night. He's not, but you can make a little bit of money on his fall. So, what do you think happens? Maybe you don't want to get into that. Maybe you prefer basketball. Grizzlies versus Thunder. Looked like the Grizzlies had one, and then they dropped the lead. So, are the Thunder's going to complete the sweep? Um, Pistons versus Knicks, 2-1 right now. You're looking at Boston versus Orlando. What about the Timberwolves versus the Lakers? All these things. Luka, you can play. It doesn't have to just be teams. It can be individual players. It can be teams. It can be live odds. Whatever it is that your choice, go to fanduel.com. And if you're new, you get $250 back in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. As we're wrapping up today's episode of Locked On HBCU, I appreciate you for making this your first listen of the day every day, making it all the way to segment 3, and I thank you 2 times for that. Thank you. Thank you. I'm here with Morgan State defensive lineman, defensive tackle, just all around versatile piece, Elijah Williams. Now, you're also the leading sack artist in school history. Do you remember the exact play in which when you claimed that title and what the call was?
Oh yeah. The call was a base call for the D line. Call
Mhm.
was a base call for the D line. I'm like, man, it's overtime. I'm like, I ain't getting no sack this whole game. I'm like, I gotta get one. So what did I have? I believe I had a short set from the guard, and if I'm not mistaken, I got picked up by the running back. So I'm going through bro face. Had to go through the running back. My guy Chib was running after the quarterback. The quarterback was focused on him. I said, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing!" Got the sack. Finally celebrated with my guys, because I'm not really a celebration type guy, but I finally celebrated with my guys, man. I was just enjoying the moment. I'm like, yeah, we got to finish this game though. We still got one.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess you do got to go do that now. But Man, that moment, and what is that? Not even the moment. We've broken down the moment. What does that title mean to you? To be able to say, I have the most sacks in Morgan State history.
Hmm. It really means, how can I put it? It makes me feel as though like I have a place at Morgan State University. Like Morgan State is really a home for me. I'm always gonna be in Morgan State's record books. It's like I'm always gonna be a part of the university, you know. And that's amazing. Like even with my high school, I always feel like I got a part there. I can always go back there and stuff like that. So it really just makes it feel like, man, this is truly your home. This is truly your place.
And you don't get this by having a great season, right? Like you don't just, oh, I dominated in 2024, so now I'm the all-time leading sack artist. This is something that you accumulated over multiple years, hard work. But did you ever think about the portal? Because we see that so often. We see so many players enter the portal, and this isn't to bash anybody who does it, but I was curious if you ever had that conversation with some people who are close to you.
Never really the conversation with other people. Maybe just myself, like thinking of like, man, is this a risk I want to take? You know, I've done so much at this university. Um, it's like this university is where I feel as though like I can do something special. Um, the coaches are really trying to work with me for me to have the best season possible and really taking my input for all of us to have the best season possible too. Why not necessarily throw away, but risk it for something that may seem better, which you have no promise of actually being better when I could just stay down, put my head down, continue grinding like I was, and put on the best season that I could put on.
Well, I think it worked out for you. I think that's safe to say that everything worked out the way it was supposed to. But, excuse me, you're looking at that season or your career. Is there a season that just sticks out more than any of the other ones as your favorite? It could be for individual reason, it could be for a team reason, it could be for anything. But is there a season of yours that you feel like that's my favorite year?
Shoot, definitely this past senior year for sure. I went from I went from what 9 to 7 sacks, 9 sacks my sophomore year to 7 sacks my junior year, and I'm like, man, I know they're gonna slide my way. You know, I still gotta find a way to win anyways. And I feel though me being able to get even more sacks than I did the previous year, and I know they've been watching me. They have film for the past 3 years on me. I feel as though it's a testament to how hard I've been working, and how much I've grown as a player, So I really feel like this year is that year.
And I thought that 2022 year was special. Somebody zero, man. Zero, when you change to zero, everything turned around for you. So I'm just saying. But anyway, I do want to wrap up and ask you this. People will say you are one of the most difficult players that they've ever had to block. The offensive lineman at Morgan State will be thankful that you're not there anymore, so they don't have to block you through practice. Are you aware of the reputation that you hold?
Chill, man. Yeah, low key. I'm aware of it. Like even when I come back training, it's like, the guys are saying, man, they're happy they don't gotta block you no more. I'm like, word, that's how they feel. I just be going out there, Of course, I'm gonna go hard in practice. I'm trying to get better, but I ain't no dudes thought of me like that. Like, yo, this guy, I don't want to block him no more. But hey, I figured it out sooner or later.
How you feel about their reputation, right? Like, how you feel about it existing in Morgan, existing outside of Morgan, of just this dude was a beast and he was a handful at all times. And that's a constant statement about you.
I take it as a compliment, man. They ain't gonna say that about somebody that's not good at what they do. So they saying about you, man. Just appreciate them, shake their hand, man. I appreciate you for saying that to me, man. I've been working for this day.
I appreciate it, man. We're rooting for you. We definitely hoping that you get drafted. I said this off the camera, but I'll say it again because I think that it deserves to be said. You are one of those guys that we genuinely in the HBCU community feel like should hear their name called. Whether it happens or not, I see the mentality in you that I'm going to go get it regardless. But I think that you are deserving of that. And I wanted to tell you that, and I wanted everybody else to know and acknowledge that as well. But I appreciate you for coming on. For everybody else, I appreciate you for tuning in. We'll be back to recap the NFL draftees as well as the guys who have already been signed as undrafted free agents on Monday's episode. In the meantime, in between time, until the next time that we hear each other, family, take care, stay blessed. Peace.